Is trumpet playing, brass playing, wind playing, string playing, piano playing a matter of life and death? Let's talk about it. So my camera here has about half an hour, so I've got to be concise. I can talk about this for hours, and it's going to be interesting talking just on my own and trying to cover all the points. Now, normally I don't. I've got all the ideas in my head and I just ramble. But there is so much I want to cover today. I've been giving all this a lot of thought, and there's no better place to think about stuff than right here. Thankfully about 100 metres from my apartment. And I've got some notes. It's actually from the forum. It's in response to a post on the WindWorks forum. Now, if you're just watching on YouTube and you haven't come across and done the Largo Status stage, please do it. What I'm about to talk about might sound odd, bizarre, shocking, weird, strange, whatever. It's pretty deep. One of the big questions I get asked quite often is, I'm a pro player and I need to make changes to my playing, and everything that you're saying is so far removed from what I'm already doing. How on earth can I do it? I can't stop playing. I can't make too many changes while I'm playing, and I'm going to talk about that in depth. I'm also going to talk about focal dystonia. From the first video I did back in the States in 2016, everyone was, was it 15? Yeah, maybe it was early 2016. I can't remember now. I was just surrounded by focal dystonia, and at the time I was led to believe it was from overexertion and the body giving up. Now, a lot's happened since then, and especially recently, you regular watchers of my ramblings will have seen recently that the universe is talking to me about focal dystonia. Well, there have been a lot of revelations in the last couple of weeks. I get to witness things going on with people's playing or singing that most of you don't get to witness, all right? And a lot of it is psychology. I give 3-hour lessons and we don't play a note hardly. We're all driven by our preconceived ideas. Trigger points. And there is a relationship between focal dystonia and how to make changes to your playing that are very, very similar. They're different, but I would almost go as far as saying on a very broad stretch that inefficiencies in your playing and letting go of it is a degree of focal dystonia. It's not, and from what I've learned recently, I am talking to people that have got fully blown focal dystonia, musicians focal dystonia, which apparently is different to other focal dystonias, but the musician focal dystonia. Researching, I'm going to post a video underneath here from a woman playing piano, and she got focal dystonia. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then when you hear the story and I hear the issues that are going on with players at the site, the issues, why do I teach professional players mostly? And people will go, you're trying to sell. I'm not trying to sell. I meet professional players that are monster players who are at their wits' end with their playing. Why is the average demographic of WindWorks and Mystery to Mastery about 40 years plus? Because young guys, they've got it all sorted out and they can push through. There's you know, they'll use all the energy and all the negative tension that they possibly can muster to get the result, and then eventually they come unstuck and a lot quit. A lot of them, you know, some of them are fine, some of them go on with their playing and end up getting to their mid-30s or whatever and going, oh, I'm killing myself and I need to make a change. I would love the younger demographic, and it's up to teachers, younger demographic to understand where I'm coming from, to be aware of the issues that can arise in all of the methods that we see and all the approaches and our innate idea of how to play. I've got I bought a few props today. Maggio Chimp, right? I've done the Maggio, I've done the Caruso, I've done the this, I've done that, all these different methods. Because I got to a point where I'm either going to give up or I need to make dramatic changes. And dramatic changes do not come from playing through it. Dramatic changes come from making dramatic changes. And it's really hard, but it can be done while you're a professional player. And I'm going to explain to you how. And to touch on one of the other points so I can get this out of my head, here is another one of my favourite pictures. To get to meet, Maynard Ferguson. Him, James Morrison, Lee Morgan, they're the ones that put me onto commercial music from the brass band world. Loved it, heard it, loved it. There's an exciting sound. So Daniel, this is for you, my friend. There is something exciting about high note trumpet. It might not be, the trumpet may not have been designed for that, but that's arguable. But there is an exciting sound in high note trumpet play that some people love. So it's as valid a way of playing trumpet as playing a jazz ballad or playing the, Mahler 5 or the Haydn trumpet concerto. Everyone's entitled to do whatever they want to do on the instrument, and what we need to be able to do is, if they can't, and this is where my life went, if I can't do what I want to be able to do on the instrument, but somebody else can, why can't I do it? I look at all these great players and I'm looking at them going, they're not smarter than me, or maybe they are, but that intellectually they're not smarter. Why can they do something that I can't do? And so I'm going to use these notes here. This is from a post on the forum. So Bill, I've got an amazing player here who is just, it's the story I see from day to day, and thankfully he's bringing it out into the public forum and openly talking about it. 35 years of playing, at wit's end, wants to give up. So you'll find on the forum my response to his initial post, and I've put replies there, but then his reply here goes right into the details, and I'm using it because it is valid for everyone. I'm going to start this all by going, you can make changes to your playing, dramatic changes to your playing, when you get to the point where you're going to give up. I was doing television shows, theatre shows, and I knew something had to change because I was killing myself and I was mega frustrated. But what I didn't do was go and just keep playing the exercises, trying to blow through it. And I didn't let the ego get in the way. And I don't mean that as a criticism to anyone. It's just this belief in what we can do, and we need to hang on to that. You've got to let go. You've got to let go. Now my understanding of focal dystonia ties in to the changing of your habits. John, again, another post, says you've got to put everything aside and you've got to have no expectations. Thank you, John. All right, so Zen in the Art of Archery, Bill mentioned, and I'll bring that up again in a minute. It comes from expectation. It comes from intensity, absolute desire, 100% focus and intent. It can come from pressure from the outside, pressure to prove oneself. The worst thing you can do is identify yourself and your entire existence, identifying that by the music that you play. Because if one day the music is not there, you are left gutted. There's more to life than this. I am doing this video on the cusp of going to see my beautiful mother, who's having chemotherapy for pancreatic cancer. And she had a very bad turn on the weekend. 2 days from Thursday night to Sunday morning, she doesn't remember, right? We're all going to die one day, but I'm also happy that she's not going to die now. They're going to fix her up. And she's got plenty more years left, right? But playing is not a matter of life or death. Whilst playing to impress parents, it's often pressure from the parents or peers, or just getting a bunch of work done, intensity, pressure, all of that, the body says no. Enough is enough. Now, making changes as a player who's already playing but a bit frustrated or unhappy with their efficiency or range or whatever, third world problems, I've got to say. First world problems, did I say third world problems? Politically incorrect. First world problems. We need to let go of expectation. We need to accept reality. There's power of now business. There's accept or change, but rejection of what is insanity. It's all here, folks. It's all here. And when people understand that and put it aside and just have an awareness of what they're doing and are happy to embrace the negative parts of their playing, what's the term I use all the time? Critical awareness of the problem is half the solution. Don't ignore it. Embrace it. And thank you, Bill, for bringing it to light, sharing it with us so we can go through the journey together. Now, the things that I would work on with you take, hours and hours and hours and hours over a long period of time, but I'm addressing it here to get started. So I'm going to read through Bill's response, because anyone who's having an issue here, and if it's too long for you, press pause, go and have a break, come back tomorrow, the next day. You need to watch this. You need to watch it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what level you are. If you understand this, you're going to progress further as a player and you're going to be more satisfied, okay, and acceptance of reality. So here we go. Thank you for the response. My pleasure. I believe that the body's concert hall is a familiar feeling. However, there are times while playing I feel rushed to take a breath. So there are exercises I used to use. I've got to touch on this. I used to use the rebreathing bag, right? And learning to engage the abdominal wall. And then as soon as you release the abdominal wall, you can do it real quick. And it opens up a vacuum and the air fills, the lungs don't fill with air, but you can get a lot of air in really quickly. Check it out, I'm talking to you, I can do that, and I'm still keeping the concert hall nice and open. So an awareness of the activity in the abdominal wall and the releasing of it is really important to go, I can get more air in. A breath doesn't have to be, and all this strain. It doesn't have to be. Just check this out. I've probably got half of my lung capacity. Running out of air, push, 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 push. Do it. And then I just almost choked myself. Hilarious. But point being, there. So you can do that really quickly without tightening the body. It can be done. So talking about the rebreathing bag, I get bagged, pardon the pun, because I've got the wind bag and the spirometers and the visualizers on the site and I'm selling them. I don't want to be a freaking salesman, right? It takes a lot of time and it costs money and, whatever. I make it enough out of it to bloomin' cover the cost of doing it. I can't keep talking about all of this psychology stuff and sensations and feelings and then demonstrate bags and visualizers and stuff and then you go and sort it out. The whole idea of this course is to offer everything possible to get you to understand the psychology of it and then experience the sensations of it. What I don't sell are these. And this is going to tie into, I talk about it now, tying to the extent that you have to go to make changes in your playing. No, I'll leave it and then I'll probably forget to bring it up again. So I'll see how we go. You can breathe quickly without tightening the body. So I put a line through that one. I'll elaborate more on my issues. Endurance first, range second. I usually start each day feeling fine. I don't need a double C. For some shows I could use a G, but I won't be heartbroken if I can never get that. Bill, you can get it. You can get it. You need to change the way things are happening. And personally, I used to use a big cup. This is personal, subjective. Watch my video with the trumpet and the trombone mouthpiece in it. Eventually, mouthpieces do become an issue. And I was the same. I haven't used a lot of mouthpieces. I just found what felt comfortable. Same rim, slightly shallower. And all of a sudden, when you learn to back off, and you raise a question about this later, you learn to back off, stop punching the air through it, the notes start to speak. So, but what the hell, why not go for it? Absolutely. I need a high D at the end of the gig. You are more than capable of having a high D at the end of every gig when you don't burn yourself for the whole gig, and that's the essence of what we're talking about. During my first practice session, I slowly get fatigued. What are you practicing? Do we know our limits? Do we know the feeling of it? Just pushing yourself to the point of fatigue doesn't mean that you're going to get ultimately stronger, because there is a threshold, there's a breaking point where it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're going to get tired if the process remains inefficient. Strength is not going to fix it. It's the opposite. Less is more. Depending on how much affects the rest of the day, many guys can rest a few hours and be back on square one on stamina. Not me, thankfully. I am one of those guys that I can have a couple of hours rest and come back and I'll be fine. Now, one time on Dancing with the Stars, the whole show, big band, chopped. And I'm also playing piccolo, trombone throughout the show. And I'm gone. I go home, I have a shower, I put a bintang beer on my chops. I'm not superstitious, but whenever I got tired after that, I'd have one bintang stubby and bit of trombone playing, loosen everything up. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, back, played the show of my life. Whoops, sorry, just hit my audio. Played great, but sometimes it's chop management. It's a self-awareness thing of learning how to remain conditioned even under the most trying circumstances. Each successive session feels like draining the gas from the car's gas tank. Eventually it's empty. So there is definitely a recovery issue going on. Game over. Yeah. Fortunately, each new day usually fills the tank up again. Zen in the art of archery, you brought it up, relying on favourable conditions. We don't want to be relying on favourable conditions. We want to be confident that what needs to come out will come out. And we are going to work on it, Bill. You can do it. You can do it. We just need to reprogram some things. There's always a feeling of fear and doubt on gig day. Zen in the art of archery, paralysed by the premonition of failure. Dudes, this is heavy, right? Am I going to make it? At this point, I know the answer is going to be no. In symphony, I rely on my assistant. In a show, I'll start taking lines down an octave. In a quintet, I hang on for dear life. Absolutely, it's all tied in together. My chops give out every single time, and I should be able to make it. Range development is non-existent. In warm-ups and 15 to 20 minutes into my first session, I could probably play up to a high F and a G, but it's typically thin. Yeah, and so... Oh, that's okay. Typically thin, so there's a lot of manipulation going on to do it. So there's only... I could punch a brick wall and it'll feel okay for the first 5 minutes, but after half an hour, doesn't matter. It's going to win eventually and I'm going to break my arm. It's the same sort of thing. Your comment on not being able to ascertain what the problem is, I'm having, makes it all frustrating. Yeah, without seeing you play, I understand that it's really frustrating. Without seeing you play, it's hard to pick, but I can tell from what you're writing where the issues are already, absolutely. And it comes down to an awareness of what you're actually doing. I guarantee it. People that I work with that have been playing for years, pro players, go, oh, okay, right, I didn't actually recognise that. That's what it's about, recognising negative tension. Open and vote, closed, setting. Right, put the horn to the lips, big relaxed breath, and away you go. I think you said somewhere there about bottoming out. Sorry, this page has not printed out properly. You try your best, Greg. You try your best. You put somewhere in there about bottoming out in a smaller mouthpiece. Back off. You've got to play it differently. You cannot play a small shallow mouthpiece. 14A4A is a good lead piece. I used it for a little while. I like my Marcinkowitz Bobby Shoe Customs a little bit better, but it'll work for you. You've got to play it differently. And you're trying to play your shallow mouthpieces like a big mouthpiece, and you're getting too much lip in there, and you're forcing too much air to compensate, and then you're bottoming out. It's too much work. It's too much work. It's a different tool. Playing a tennis, hitting a tennis racket. Oh, no, let's go golf. Hitting a driver and hitting a wedge, hitting a little chip. They're all different techniques. They're different clubs, and they need to be approached differently. I don't consider this an embouchure change. I consider it sensation development. I think about my playing. In thinking about my playing, when I ascend doing flexibility exercises, I do close the jaw somewhat, which also brings the lips more together. I know that I do not. With the mouth or aperture corners inwards. I know that I do not. Oh, the jaw doesn't come up. I understand this feeling and can do the initial mao with the visualizer mouthpiece and lead pipe. I will keep training the brain and the body to do this. I do believe in it, and I'm willing to do it for as long as it takes. Hallelujah, buddy. I'll devote a portion of my practice time to it, but I obviously can't devote... No, you circle and square. You don't devote all of your time to it. You plant the seed. Guys, there's a building here. There's a building here. In Sydney, there's a building called the Opal Tower, and it's falling down. People pay millions of dollars for these apartments, and they're cracking. Poor foundations, poor construction. Now, we're living in one of those apartment blocks, right? We sleep there, we eat there, we practice there. We have to, we've got no choice. That's where we live. But over the road, we're building a brand new complex. Beautiful foundation, strong, and it's going to be built layer by layer by layer, brick by brick. New neural pathways, pathway, road, brick by brick by brick. Every brick is a new step in the right direction. You can't put one brick down and drive on the road. You've got to build it, and you build it slowly over time. The new building is going to have perfect foundation, perfect construction. Then eventually you can go over here and have a lunch in the cafe down on the ground floor while they're still building that. But then you've got to still sleep. So you're over in your original building. You live there. But you're like, okay, we're not going to live here forever because we're building that one over there. How cool is that, right? You go across here, and eventually you go up and you can start looking around. You're on level 19. Eventually they get to level 19, you can walk around and there's just wood and concrete. But you're seeing it come together, more bricks, more bricks, more bricks. And then eventually, and you can't rush. There's no impatience. Things are going to go wrong in construction. The sparkies are not going to turn up. The plumbing's going to leak. The electrician's going to fall over or something. It's going to happen, but ultimately the building will get built with quality control, because that's what we're doing. And eventually you can live not here, but here. And eventually you're so solid living here that you can knock that building over, right? Or that building's always going to be there, but you just never have to look at it again, right? I could talk about that as far as focal dystonia goes for hours. You've got to embrace the beast. You've got to accept the problems. You've got to face it. My building is collapsing. There's no repairing it. I need a new building. I think about my playing. Yes, maybe this is one tweak. Dan Quigley, you might have seen his testimonial. Thank you. He's one of the few people on the planet that I will let teach my stuff because he totally gets it and can demonstrate it. Legend. Thank you, Dan. He was helping Bill with some of the issues. Great. I love how people are talking about this and helping each other. That's what it's all about. Isometric exercises, bad psychology. Playing is not strength. It's balance. Flow, shape. Optimum work. Minimal work, but optimum work. Can't play loud enough in a symphony. Right. The process of playing louder. Push harder. Tighten up more. Here's your sound. I just played with double the sound, and I didn't engage the body to do that. I opened up. More displacement because there's more volume, but there's nothing in the way. Consider this, you've got the lungs. Where can things go wrong? So you've got an efficient breath into the lungs. Now, where can they get caught? They can get caught in the throat. They can get caught at the back of the tongue. They can get caught at the front of the tongue. They can get caught at the lips. But otherwise, there's an oscillating air column, right? And you can make massive sound passively. It gets to the point on a low C, I can play so loud that if I engage the body at all, it just distorts. It's too loud. The air, energy fall out. Passive energy, natural energy is so strong. I'm going to be doing a heap of videos on the power of passive energy. It's enormous and we don't use it. Yep, conductors always asking me to play louder leads to overblowing because you're not letting the air out and there's too much work going on to try and play with that volume. It does give me comfort to know that other players have the same struggles. I so often feel very ineffective as a teacher, which is really my main gig. I really want to be able to help my own students battle with these demons and help them succeed. So, I won't, that's all, that's personal. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And the fact that you are allowing yourself to speak about it publicly is a very big step forward. In the video below about focal dystonia, she talks about the 5 stages of grieving, right? So what are the stages of grieving? And I've had to write just so I didn't sit here. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Okay? So an acceptance of the issue is everything, but we don't want to let go. We can't let go because we can't make a chop change. I hope I didn't miss that. I'll come back to it if I did. Emotional expectation of the result from personally or from an environment, from people, bad. I am a great trumpet player. So the thing is, I'm so into this because I'm the opposite of that. And I'm not saying I'm right or you're right, but I hate being identified as a trumpet player. Oh, this is my brother Greg. Oh, hi, Greg. Greg's a musician. Oh, great, you know. Are you in a band? Oh, no, Greg's... And I just play trumpet. And my family and my ex-wife get really frustrated because, he's really good, to try and convince these people that I'm a good person. I hate it, being judged identified as a good person because I can play the instrument. It's all wrong. The human psychology is wrong. I'm not a good person because I can play well. I think I'm a decent dude. He plays on television. He did Dancing with the Stars. He's played with such and such and such and such. And all of a sudden these strangers think I'm a god because I can play the trumpet. Are you freaking kidding me? No. Get the ego out of it. Yeah, I played. Who cares? We're all going to die one day. It's not morbid, it's fact. So what are we playing for? What are we trying to prove? Or are we playing music for the love of music? You know, for the love of music. It's important. So yes, a lot of people are going through it. Failure to, no. There's no failure. There's no failure. You're not failing. You're doing a great job, but we can always do better. And what lengths are we going to do better? This is the question. I hope the camera's going to run out soon, and then I'll just download it and I'll keep talking. It's too important to not do it. Mouthpieces, here we go. Yeah, millions again. I haven't done much with mouthpieces. I just found I wanted something that felt comfortable, a little bit shallower, and then learned how to play it. Bobby Shoe's words to me years ago: inverted commas, bold, back off, back off, back off. Because in my mind, after playing big mouthpieces, that's too small for me. I need to give it more. Yeah, I was killing myself, getting migraines, teeth closing up. Oh, God, I'm stupid. Teeth closing up and killing myself. How I didn't get hernias or perforated larynxes or other, glaucoma, I don't know. lucky, I guess, but I knew that I was killing myself, and that was the issue. We spoke a little bit ago about the jaw coming up, especially in the upper register, or maybe it's coming up here. No, it's in the other one. Right? This is dental putty. 2 compounds. I'm on gigs. Migraines. And a friend, I'm starting to notice that my teeth are coming together. And a friend of mine knew Mike Williams from, is it not the Basie Band? Oh, is it a touring Basie Band? Yeah, Basie Band. And this is back when Mike was at in the 1 o'clock lab band, and said, I need to go and see my teacher. My teeth are closing up. And I'm like, oh man, that's what I'm going through. And he goes, I can normally stick a finger between my teeth when I'm playing and I'm closing up. He's playing lead. And I'm like, I totally get that. So what does Greg do? Greg got a biro, and it wasn't one of these, but it was similar. You could actually unscrew the end of the pen. I thought, I'm going to try and put it between my teeth to keep it open. So it wasn't that, but let's say it's that. Put it between my teeth. That's going to keep my jaw open. And I did that and tried to play, and it felt like my jaw was that far open, and it felt ridiculous. Threw it in the bin. No, can't do that. Never tell anyone you did that, Greg. 6 months later, another biro. No, feels ridiculous. Don't try that again. In the bin. 6 months later, by this stage, I'm reading every method book, and I've got onto the science of physics books and going, I need to explore this further. Because the fact is that it feels foreign doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means it feels foreign. Now, don't forget, I'm working as a professional player. I'm making a great living. But something was wrong. So I'm sitting at home putting freaking ends of pens in my mouth, going, something's wrong. Something's got to change. So eventually, I put it in there and said, right, let's make it work. Tissue, visualizer, things between teeth, felt insane. But pens aren't, particularly cheap, and I was chewing through too many ends of pens. So I bought dental putty, 2 compounds, shoved them into a lid of the pen, funnily enough, and they end up looking like a bullet. And between the teeth, this is going back to the year 2000, folks, so I just put something in my mouth that's old and 19 years old. Crikey. And play like that. Yeah. At the start, I used to chew through hundreds of them. Now I can play all over the horn, and I won't even leave a teeth mark in it. I found some of the other ones. I've got a blue bit of foam and a Stanley knife that I used to cut them all with. That's a fairly extreme length to go to. But based on the knowledge, based on the feeling, the understanding, I want the lips to interact with the vocal cords. I want the air to interact with the lips as if they're the vocal cords. I use that term now. I didn't back then, but the essence was the same. The lips are the vocal cords of the instrument. Rafael Mendes, don't force the air more than in general conversation. All these ideas. Then physics, flow, how water in a water trumpet, and apertures and cross-sectional areas and all this sort of stuff. Why do I need to worry about that? Because playing the freaking instrument is the same way is not going to fix anything. Got to rethink about it. And so I sat there for hours and hours and hours, and this is over years, periods of time. And then the whole tongue thing. I thought that I couldn't tongue properly because the tip of my tongue was below my bottom teeth. And everyone's telling me, with the best intention, Greg, you've got a tongue at the roof of your mouth, tip of your tongue up there. No, you don't have to. So I discover, K-modified tonguing. You've got to check it out. You've got to be aware of how the system works, what it feels like, how it all works, how the body and the instrument live together. What do they, how do they interact? There's an oscillation. And I'm working on a concept at the moment, and it's kind of what came first, the chicken or the egg. But we've got an air column body, air column trumpet. What's making the air vibrate? It's a funny, weird way of looking at it. What's making the air vibrate when I'm talking? The vocal cords are setting the air into vibration. Some could say the air's setting the vocal cords into vibration, but it's not there, right? So the sound that I'm creating now is the oscillation of the vocal cords. And then when I put the instrument on, what's making the air in the trumpet and the body vibrate? The lips, right? But how hard is it to talk? And at what stage when I go to... And I'm not a singer. I've never had a singing lesson. I'm giving teachers singing lessons and they freak out because I can go... and I didn't engage at all, and I'm still not engaging. This is all passive, and now I'm starting to get softer. Now you can tell that it's passive. Now I can keep talking, and now I've engaged, but that was all done. All of that singing and all this talking right now was done in one breath, and I don't know how long it was, but go back and check it out. You might be surprised. And all of a sudden, when you've got a nice expanded body, and then I start pushing and pushing. There's 1,000 things going on in my head that I can't talk about now, but I'd love to. And I'm still just active. It's still the one breath. It's still the one breath there. How about that? It's really easy to take a nice breath and just relax and let the air move and make sound. And actually, I'm just about through. So, yeah, Bill said he recognised that his teeth are coming together as he's getting higher. So recognition, remember the magnifying glass. Where does as we're getting high turn into and that starts to happen, and the body does too much. I was giving a lesson this morning preparing for the WindWorks International Harmonics Challenge on trombone, and doing it with a student who's actually going to be here next week. So we're going to do it live on the second day of the challenge. And, you know, he's learning. But soon as on a concert D flat to G flat, soon as it starts getting faster, soon as it starts getting longer, the body reacts and tightens. You've got to be able to recognise it. The whole purpose of the Harmonic Slur Challenge is to recognise inefficiencies. And I can say it in the course a million times, but until you feel it, you understand what we're looking for and how to get rid of it, you're going to keep on hitting the same walls. You've got to be prepared to do different things. You cannot keep stimulating the same activity. It's amazing, this video down the Focal Dystonia. She's awesome. I didn't realise for years and years that the way that I was teaching related in such a profound way with the people that are working on Focal Dystonia. Phil Smith from New York Philharmonic, was told about my stuff from a student because he developed Focal Dystonia. It's the intensity of it over a long period of time. It's not just the inefficiency of playing, which is what my belief was based on the people, what they were telling me when I was over there first. It's not that. I'm teaching people at the moment that can hold lead pipe, but as soon as they go into playing position, shakes can happen, cheeks can puff out, all these crazy things going on that are hardwired. So to overcome those hardwired triggerings, you need to do things differently. I've got one person literally going, this is a true story, folks. Hold trumpet. Now, there's no expectation to play. There's no expectation results, so everything's calm, right? But as soon as the playing's there, everything starts to lock up. But not always. We're getting there. But I said, turn to the left and point to the left. So I've demonstrated. I'm not lying to you. And she goes, I can't do it. I said, do this for me. And she goes, I said, move your arms around. She goes, I said, you're physically capable of doing it. Now pick the trumpet up. It's freaking awesome. I'm up here spending my life learning this stuff and I'm sharing it with you because I care. I don't get thrills from gigging anymore. It's kind of fun going and having a jam. I'm supposed to be on the road with Hugh Jackman, 6-week tour around Australia. I couldn't think of anything worse. Airports and hotels. Yet there are people that would be watching this going, what? That's all I want to do. It's everything. And once upon a time I was like that, but that's not important to me anymore. This is important to me. So I want people to listen and learn from it. It's stepping outside the box and doing something different to get a different result. And I know that the concepts are challenging to people, but if we can just understand a very basic, simple system, air into the body, something that vibrates, let go. Where does pitch come from? What needs to be done to play an instrument? And does it matter if we screw up? Does it matter what Joe A and Hose B and all these Jose and Joe B, whatever, what they think? I don't care. And it got to the point that I stopped caring about what people thought because I was getting off the first couple of seasons of Dancing with the Stars and I was a shaking mess because it was just so intense. And it was fun, it was great, it was challenging. But ultimately not satisfying for me. Having someone sit down and do something that they couldn't do before and then do it is better than any gig I've ever done. You know, playing with Herbie Hancock was great fun. Maiden Voyage, I studied it at College of the Arts and I'm playing with him. Touring with my teenage hero, James Morrison, and then 20 years later being in the same room looking at the seats that I was playing, 20 years before as a 16-year-old, I was sitting there watching James and 20 years to the day, I'm there looking at that seat. You know, amazing experiences, but it got to the point recently when I'm doing West Side Story with the Melbourne Symphony and all the, you know, solos and the high staff and whatever and the concert hall's full of people and the, you know, applause and encores and... So, the video just ran out. The end of the story, folks, is I almost teared up because the conductor pointed at me and I stood up, first person to be recognised, and the crowd cheered. And the cheering for me was almost fake. They don't know me. It's pretty deep, I know. And I'm just playing trumpet. There are 1 million people playing trumpet. 1 billion people playing trumpet. Doesn't matter if I play trumpet or not, or how I play it. There's somebody else can do it. It's not a big deal. We do it for satisfaction and fun. If we do it for any other reason, it's the wrong reason. And to feel like a fraud whilst people are clapping for you in an environment like that. I know that the orchestra members were stunned. The string players were all just, they'd never heard anything like it before, which, you know, I've heard it before because I know the best. You know, I've played with the best. I'm lucky. And I've stood next to Wayne Bergeron and Bobby Shue and Jeff Payne in the orchestra, one of the amazing classical players. And it's not that important. It's not that important. It's got to be good times. And it's got to be, you've got to leave the emotions for the music itself. Frustrations with your playing need to be looked at and accepted. We need to get to the acceptance stage of the grieving process. Forget what you think is supposed to be the way, what it used to be like if you're a comeback player or a recovering player or whatever. Just be open, calm, look deep inside, close your eyes, hum, passive, 1% rule, less work. I could keep talking for hours about this, but I won't. But please consider what I've said, because there are a lot of people going through it, and for all of those people that are out there, which number in the millions, that look at my stuff, well, no, maybe not millions, there are a lot of people out there, millions of players that have never seen my stuff and have never heard of me, and that's totally fine. But for those that look at what I do and go, he's either a crackpot or it's bullshit, they haven't experienced what I have experienced personally and what I experience on a daily basis. Changes can be made, and you need to be aware that changes can be made and then accept the process, no matter how long the process takes. Time does not matter. Any anxiety about impatience is wasted energy. You can make changes as a professional player, but you do it slowly. You plant the seed and then you get on and keep digging. Plant the seed, then get on and keep digging. Plant the seed every day. Come back and water the garden every day, but there are no seeds of weeds. No weed seeds. Pure, healthy trees and fruit. So, on that note, I'm going to leave you. Please, leave some comments down below. Please come and check out the course. And if you're still listening here, you're going to look at everything in the course a different way. And I know that you can get through whatever it is you're going through. People have overcome massive focal dystonia. They've overcome it. That doesn't mean that it's not there still, and often they don't like talking about it because they don't want to, they don't want to even think about it in fear of triggering it. But again, an acceptance of it and then working around it is the answer. Folks, do I hear someone snoring? I'm going to go now. Enjoy your playing. Enjoy your playing. And enjoy your playing. See ya.